Success in farming is all about precision and efficiency, ensuring every seed, every drop of water, every nutrient and treatment counts. Terraplex Ag is helping farmers all over Iowa and the Midwest do just that. With precision ag drone technology and support from Terraplex, you'll boost your productivity and make timely and informed decisions, all while reducing your costs and increasing your profit. It's time to revolutionize your farming. Harvest the benefits with Terraplex Ag. Visit TerraplexAg.com.
Spring is here. It's time to start thinking about family fun in the outdoors. This is Chris Williams promoting my good friends at Plaza RV in Bondurant. I've now bought 2 travel trailers from this locally owned company in the past 5 years. It's completely changed my family's life. We love spending time in the outdoors, tailgating, and most of all, being together. Camping has been an awesome escape for us, and I would encourage you to think about it as well. Head over to their lot in Bondurant. They have motorhomes, travel trailers, truck trailers, fifth wheels, and more. Check them out today at PlazaRV.com. They're 100% locally owned. Tell them that Chris Williams sent you. Hello, welcome to Williams and Blum here on your Wednesday morning. We are live, and we wanted to go live early because I just feel like today could be pretty busy with the Scott Drew potentially. I think less busy on the Iowa State front. We're going to react to some stuff from yesterday. We are presented, as always, by our friends at Mechdyne, the Mechdyne Corporation, here in the Wild Rose Casino Studios. It is too early to be sipping on Cody Road. For me, at least, I'm not going to judge you, Bloom.
It's coffee. It's coffee.
You. Okay, yeah. Well, if you wanted to have a Cody Road after yesterday, I'd be okay with it.
All good.
Before we get going, a couple of quick things. I am shaving my head on Saturday for St. Baldrick's. This is the 12th or 13th year I've done this. Right now I've raised $279. I have a goal of $4,000 to fight pediatric cancer.
Go.
So, Aiden, would you mind? I'm going to text this to you, throwing out my link in the comments. I'd love to get some money raised during this show. I was at Reclaimed Rails last night working on stuff with the volunteers there, and it's going to be a great event. Even if you just want to come and have some beers with us on Saturday night and watch us all get our head shaves, that'll be at Reclaimed Rails Brewing in Bondurant. I believe the event starts at 5 is when it starts. I also, Bloom, and you knew this guy. I just wanted to pay some homage to a dear friend of mine who we lost this last weekend. His name is Steve Cabbage. I can honestly tell you, was my first mentor in broadcasting, the first guy who ever got me into this business. I was calling dirt races with Steve and his brother Rick when I was 15 years old. And they brought me on and let me roam around the pits in a souped up golf cart. And Steve tragically died too soon last weekend. I'm heading back home to his funeral and stuff for the rest of the week. And it was, we all have people in our lives that just really impact you. This was the guy that ever gave me my first chance at anything in this. And he's a legendary racing guy back in the Western Iowa and Eastern Nebraska, and really, really kind of rocked me. Just a really good person and just sick for his family. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about him at some point. So do you remember when I started doing pregame shows for the pre-race shows for Iowa Speedway?
Yeah.
I did that for like 5 years.
I remember that.
On KXNO, and I brought Steve back to be my co-host.
That's right.
Which was a blast because all of a sudden, we were doing our dirt racing stuff back home.
From Adams County Speedway to the Indy cars, right?
And now we're interviewing like Danica Patrick and Bubba Wallace. And it was I really, really cherish those memories. And I didn't want to get to his funeral and not be able to give him a shout out. So anyways,
Steve was always kind to me. I was just some suburban kid from Des Moines,
but you worked with him when you were at KMA with me.
I did. I was with him, and the guy treated me like I knew exactly what I was talking about, even though I clearly did not. So
didn't you go?
Listen,
I swear this is funny, everybody. So Bloom and I had our own little sports office at KMA Radio 12, 13 years ago. Because
longer than that, buddy.
Well, I got hired.
2008.
I got hired there out of college, and God, it was 2008. Jeez. So I got hired there out of college, and then the sports director quit like a month later.
Thanks, Williams.
So then I called Bloom, and I'm like, "Hey, you want to move to Shenandoah?" And he did, and there was one week where I had something going on and couldn't do the racing show, and Bloom had to go to the track, go to the dirt track and set everything up and do the show, and it's still one of the funniest freaking things I've ever heard in my life. He had no it would be like, "Hey, Williams, we're gonna send you to a tea party, and you're gonna," like, just
Right, it really analyzed
completely
the thing.
fish out of water stuff, and
I was the point guard. I just asked like really generic questions and shut up. But you could tell all the guys were like, "Who's this guy?" Like I had 4 heads. I did not belong, but that's okay. Steve Cabbage made it feel like, hey, we got through the show. He was a professional.
yeah, he's the best, and, God, we're really gonna miss him. We were gonna do something, for Ollie's race day, with the NASCAR races, and he was super excited about that, getting back up here and doing more work, and it just, man, it's crushing.
You
So,
just never know, right?
shout out to his family and his brothers, Rick and Kevin, and, he's got 3 kids he left behind and a wife, and it's really, really sad. So, with that, we'll get to a little more, well, a different type of somber, the not real life type stuff. It's real, but so I'll just throw it out there. Iowa State lost a transfer target yesterday due to NIL. Javon Hadley, from what I understand, was basically a silent commit for a while now, and I don't know exactly how it happened, but yeah, all of a sudden yesterday it was like, bam, it's done. He got an NIL offers, I believe, from somewhere. I still don't exactly know.
Mhm.
Too rich for Iowa State's blood. So that you're kind of back to the drawing board there. Iowa State is on a couple other guys. So they're not. Otts rarely gets caught with his, you know, pants down. I don't know, for lack of a better term. But I'll give the floor to you. I mean, this is nothing to be panicked about or
No,
anything like
no,
that.
it's not.
I think what it showed me is you have a good player in Hadley, a good player, not a great player, a good player. What these guys can demand on the open market in free agency, it's incredible. And this is another instance that I don't like our system, Brent, only because I think he wanted to go to Iowa State, but it was like a deal where, his cousin's on the team, and he's got all these connections, and then all of a sudden you get these offers, and how do you say no to? Like, I'm not mad at him. I'm not any of that stuff. Like, this is a young man who was offered life-changing money, and he's probably going to take it. And most of us, if we look ourselves in the mirror, would probably do something similar. But this is why you and I have, a lot of people can get annoyed with us because we talk so much about NIL and the portal and the business.
Yeah, and
It's such a big part of this conversation. We have to do it.
yeah, and it's I don't blame any individual here. I mean, as of last week, it was pretty much a done deal from what I understood, but there's no paperwork really that you can sign yet. And so he, it offers Chris, what changed in the last week? Well, something significant really that
Yeah.
is going to alter the whole landscape of college basketball. And that is Coach Calipari went to Arkansas. And why did he go to Arkansas? Because Arkansas basically offered him a blank check in NIL. Like, whatever you want to do, you got it, pal. And so what does Arkansas have? Well, Walmart's down there. Hunt Transportation's down there. Tyson's down there. And apparently they basically said, hey, Cal, you come here, NIL will not be a problem. And that shifted literally overnight the marketplace in a lot of ways, because all of a sudden you've got a school like Arkansas almost doubling or tripling what the market was for players of Hadley's ilk almost overnight. And that's what happened. And so it's not like the rest of us can just come up with that 2 to 3 times the amount overnight. And so that's kind of where we're at. So, again, it kind of just puts a giant flux of, hey, where is this going? And I don't blame it. I don't blame him. It's just the reality. And that's why I hate just banging people over the head with the NIL thing, but it's real. That very rarely have we lost somebody due to NIL in football or men's or women's basketball, but this was 100% the reason. And so you keep fighting and you live for another day, and you find somebody else that will obviously still going to be very good next year, but it's just kind of a sobering reality of this, we thought we were doing okay, but all it takes is one massive donor writing a blank check to throw the whole thing in disarray again. Because again, guys, there's no salary cap. There's no draft. There's no nothing. And so these things can literally change overnight. And so our goal still is to continue to add to this roster, but also to keep the guys on the current roster. I mean, that's the portal's still open till April 30th. And this is why it keeps me up at night, is like, I'm not overly concerned about it, but at the same time, there's nothing stopping the current Iowa State players from getting similar offers right now, and I'm sure they are.
Yeah, and that's where like another buzzword that I think he's used way too much, but like this is where like the culture and like guys actually wanting to be there matters so much. But again, though, and I'm going to keep pounding that. I haven't heard anybody else talk about this, and if they have, maybe I'm wrong. But there's so many of these instances that I hear about where these players, men and women, don't want to leave a place. Maybe they have a boyfriend, maybe they have a girlfriend, maybe they're from there, whatever. They want to stay, but in many cases they don't have like financial backing at home.
Yeah.
So they feel like they have to leave, and then they make a bad life decision for one payday. And sometimes the money's so big, it's like, well, if somebody gets $1 million and then they put it into a dividend fund and they're going to get paid on it forever, like that's one thing. I don't know if that's happening in all these spots, right?
Well,
So, like,
I'll just be honest. I mean, I know people. The question is, well, what? How much money are we talking about here? The market
I've heard
value,
over $500,000.
Yeah, the market value for a good player in the portal right now is a minimum $500,000.
Yeah,
and I'm not talking about Hunter Dickinson.
no, he's over $1 million.
That's somebody like Hadley. I'm sure somebody offered him over $500,000. That's where we're in. I don't like it either. Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily, but you can't blame the individual for entertaining that. If you got offered 2 times your salary, you absolutely would go looking. So that's where we're at. So you can either complain about it or you can keep fighting and raise some more funds, and that's what we're gonna do. So the sun came up today, and we'll find other ways to make sure we keep the guys we have and try and be strategic and adding some more talent to what's going to be still a top 10 team next year.
This doesn't really change that. I mean, this would be. I was explaining to a advertiser of ours last night who got our Patreon response, and he picked up the phone and called me and asked what the hell happened. And I explained to him, like, well, this is a really nice piece to that team, but this is not that team. Like, anything you add at this point is a piece. They do need to get more bigs, and they're working on it. William Kyle set a visit, and then Joshua Jefferson from St. Mary's is the other one. So if you get those 2 pieces, you have a really good spring. Like, that is to go with Heisey and Chapman. What?
Brandt.
What's his last name? Chapman. What? There's too many of these guys. And then you have
Samsonite.
Slippy, Slappy. And then you have Deshaun Jackson as well. That's a really good spring. It's a really good spring. So,
yeah.
Chatfield, thank you.
Chatfield.
I just have my brain is just mush.
It's not. I would say in this case, it's not the individual necessarily. It's the climate that this hasn't gone away. It's just kind of a sobering is the right word for me. It's like, all right, we haven't solved this puzzle yet. This will continue to be a deal.
I wonder too.
And then the issue is, C-Dub, the basketball portal and the football portal are going to be open at the same time, starting on the 15th, and it's just like, holy smokes!
I wonder too. I was thinking about this last night. So you said it hasn't gone away because we all kind of thought it would level off a little bit.
Yeah, it's not.
I wonder if part of this is the portal opens right during March Madness, where all these boosters are sitting around watching games.
Yeah.
Oh man, I want to be in the Final Four next year. And it's kind of like the guy at the casino. It's like, oh, well, I won that hand. I'll play one more. Like that type of deal. I don't know. I'm just
No,
thinking out loud.
it's for sure. For
And
sure.
the
It's
football thing
emotional.
not being open, right? Like it's once that opens up, I would imagine that would stave off some basketball spending. But until then, it's like this free for all on hoops because, man, I love college basketball. You know that. But college football still runs the show, right? Like this is
Yes.
still a football driven industry that we're in. But basketball is so unique that you add one guy and it completely changes everything.
And what separates basketball is you have the Creightons, Villanovas,
Yeah.
Georgetowns, Marquettes of the world that don't have football. And so they're working with literally $3 to $5 million each just for basketball. And so it's just naturally going to drive up the price for these things. Um, and so you got to be strategic in what you're doing. And that's why I say the more the better. If you've ever considered, I hate hitting people over the head with it, but this is how we're gonna have to survive until all this stuff gets regulated. And I don't think it's a 10-year runway. I think this will all be regulated in the next couple of years. What does that look like at that point? I'm not sure. But if you've ever considered and you enjoyed this season and you want the good times to continue, it certainly doesn't hurt.
Well, and I tweeted this out last night shortly after it. I needed a beer. I was making some fairway meat on my Traeger in the driveway, and even if you don't want to like make a donation to We Will, buy a 6-pack of Ames Law. Like that matters.
It does.
That it.
My hat, like my
I've
hat.
seen your numbers that you like when things were rolling in, and we'll be honest, the Ames Lager sales have dropped off, and it was probably because of the winter. You guys crushed it during football season. Go out there, like it's going to be 80 degrees this weekend, wherever you can fricking find it, and buy as much of it as you can because it matters. All that stuff matters.
This is a weird way to say this, but I'm going to because, hey, we're all friends here. Ames Lager is the reason why we're going to add 1 or 2 players in the basketball portal.
There you go.
I mean,
like we're not making it up.
It's almost 1-to-1 with the. So, yes, it has made a huge impact, and so please keep supporting that, even if you don't necessarily agree. And again, nobody philosophically is like, yes, this is the best thing ever.
No,
it's just
we don't need it. Yeah, you don't need to say that, Brent. Everybody understands you're doing the best work that you can, and you're making an impact in the community, and that's what people care about. Like the thing I love about Iowa Staters is they, for the most part, are very open with. Yeah, we're Iowa Staters. Yeah, I got my shit kickers on. I'm going to a wedding in them. That's just who we are, and that's fine. But like I say, like not everybody has the funds to donate $100 a month, but most people are going to go out and buy a 12-pack this weekend. So even if you, go We Will Pizza. Thanks, Brant. Like all that stuff, it
does.
It matters. And I also want to thank Westo. I've gotten to know them pretty well, and they're not only passionate because it's a product of theirs, but Matt over there is passionate about helping We Will. Like that, he wants Iowa State to win games, and he's like, that's why they're advertising with Cyclone Fanatic right now. So like there's a million Iowa State beers out there, but only one of them is helping this cause. And the other ones are great too. I'm not taking a dump on them. Like I would encourage you to buy the one like there's other good stuff going on, but this is the one that helps with NIL.
Yeah, so we're gonna keep fighting the good fight. I mean, I didn't sleep a whole lot last night, but it's like, you know what? This is kind of the kick in the pants that I needed. We haven't solved this riddle yet. We'll keep fighting. So appreciate everyone sticking with us. And I truly believe good times are ahead. This is a little bump on the road, but we're going to make the best of it. The sun came out and we're ready to roll.
All right. Thank a couple of our sponsors, and I want to get on to, is Scott Drew going to be the next head coach at Kentucky and everything that will follow?
And this all plays into it because literally the Cal thing shifted the landscape entirely.
If Cal doesn't leave Kentucky, Hadley probably commits tomorrow to Iowa State.
It makes me wonder. Yep.
Yeah. Thank our friends from the Iowa State University Foundation. We just got done raising. Cyclone Fanatic listeners, readers raised over $12,000 for Forever True Day with our friends at the Iowa State University Foundation. Brent and I each gave our pledges. We each gave to the Ivy College of Business, which supports us here on Cyclone Fanatic. One of the many things. But we raised over $12,000. We had I think we had 136 individual donors, which is just amazing. And I saw people on our forum saying, man, this was great. It felt good to give to something other than sports. And I was like, yeah, because there's so much more to it. Like sports is just a part of all of this. So thanks to everybody for that. I also want to thank my buddy Jeff Kelderman down there at Kelderman Manufacturing in Oskaloosa. I owe you a visit, Jeff. I'm actually going down to Kelderman the first Monday, I believe, in May. He's got a bunch of NASCAR guys that are going to be down there for the Kyle Petty motorcycle ride at Kelderman Manufacturing. Bloom, you should go down with me. You can hang out with Kyle Petty, man.
Like real NASCAR guy?
Yeah.
Like current ones? Or
Rick Allen, another dirt track announcing legend in the old Eagle Raceway out there in Eagle, Nebraska. But he was the former PA guy as well at Nebraska. When they called him the voice of God. He's now the voice of NASCAR on NBC. But I actually called a few races with him back in the day, believe it or not. So I get to catch up with him.
Everything comes back to the track.
It does. It's for the good old boys and gals, the salt of the earth, man, at the dirt tracks in Western Iowa. But shout out to Jeff Kelderman. We couldn't do what we do without him. He's turned into a dear friend of mine, and his buddy Mark Steck down there at Oskaloosa as well. So Calipari leaves for Kentucky. So really, it starts with Musselman. Yeah, leaves Arkansas. Kentucky for Arkansas. It starts with Musselman. He leaves for USC, which I feel like is a pretty good fit. Then, this Cal thing, this is a little bit Greg McDermott-ish, where Iowa State wanted to get out of that, but they owed him too much. Mac would never quit because he would leave too much money on the table, and he gets Creighton, and everybody's happy. That's what this feels like in the Kentucky situation, because they owed like $32 million or something like that to Calipari. He goes to Arkansas where he gets his fresh start. It felt like I thought I thought his message for Kentucky fans was great. He's like, you guys need another leader. You need another voice. We've maxed out. It was really pretty humble for that guy, although he's always recruiting. I know that.
Oh, yeah.
So he's out. And like you said, the NIL market. So like Hadley, for instance, I mean, Bart Torvik's, he was like a top 10 transfer. All of these guys likely got big offers from Arkansas, I would guess.
They don't have anybody on their roster.
Correct. They're literally
zero players on the Arkansas roster right now.
Correct.
Zero.
Well, and then you have Musselman out at USC throwing money around. And so what does this all mean now? Scott Drew from Baylor is the clubhouse favorite to take the Kentucky job. This is going to result in musical chairs in the Big 12. I can almost promise you, because if I'm Baylor and Mac Rhodes, the AD down there, he's calling Jerome Tang or Grant McCaslin
right now
at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
It's one of those two guys.
Yep.
I would guess it's Jerome Tang, only because he knows where every skeleton is buried in Waco. This guy he was born to take that job, like the Christianity aspect of it, like just he's the perfect guy to call if you're. So then Kansas State or Texas Tech's gonna have an opening potentially if Scott Drew takes his job. This is crazy. Now I want to backtrack real quick and jump in. You can feel free to interrupt me, but we talked on Sunday about job hopping, and we didn't think it was as valuable as it used to. That is only true unless you get a call from Kentucky or Duke or one of these blue blood type schools. I just got done reading Scott Drew's book. For what it's worth, I wouldn't recommend it. It wasn't that great, and I love Scott Drew. This is the type of job that guy would take. Because
why would that be? Because I would be. I mean, I understand it. It's still Kentucky, but he's got a pretty good gig down there. He's won a national championship. He's been there for 21 years. Yeah. Why now? I don't. That's where I would be confused.
Well, my only response to that would be Scott Drew at a very young age in coaching, and everybody knows how much I love Coach Drew. I think he's fantastic. He's featured in my book, by the way. He gave me an exclusive interview for that. It was pretty cool. this is a guy who I feel like getting to the top of the mountain really, really matters to him. And I think that he's a guy who's such a college basketball nerd where coaching at Kentucky really matters to that guy.
Yeah.
You're not
and
wrong. If I
yeah.
were him, I would stay at Baylor. And he very well might. Like, his roots are deep in that community. But like, this is like one of the like two or three. That guy's got the best agent on the planet. Him and Buzz Williams. They're connected to every job every year.
Yeah.
It feels like Drew has been looking for something, and every year, Brent, he's connected to every big opening, and he never ends up taking it. He's probably gotten 15 raises out of this. This to me feels like one he would really, really want to take.
Yeah, I don't think it's financial. I mean,
no, he's got enough money.
Baylor's got resources. It'd be more if he would. It'd be two things to me. It'd be one, getting the respect that he really hasn't gotten. I mean, I would guess if you asked your average college basketball fan, is Scott Drew a Hall of Famer? They'd probably go no. But his resume probably would stack up as trending that way.
Absolutely.
But you're right. Baylor doesn't have the same cachet as a Kentucky does. It just never will. And then because of that, he has recruited well at Baylor, but Kentucky it's got the brand that Baylor just never will. It just won't. You can't change the fact that you're in Waco at Baylor. It's not changing. So I could see, like, if he just wanted to reach the mountaintop, I mean, but Baylor still is a really good gig. And that's why if I'm Tang or McCaslin, you have to entertain that. But it's going to create, this whole thing isn't done spinning because that's going to create another spin, because it was told, we talked about it this week. K-State raised its basketball budget for NIL to like $3 million to keep Tang. They literally tripled it, or almost quadrupled it, apparently, to keep him. Well, that's what all these schools are going to do now. That's the new way to retain and
it's not like the old days where Pollard would tell McDermott, "Hey, I'll give you 3 more years on your contract," or whatever. No,
yeah, it's how much NIL dollars will you guarantee me through your boosters? So I could see Tang, and then I'll create another seismic shift. But man, it would be hard if I was at a place for 20 years to go. But this would be a last stop type of thing too. So it'll be interesting. If not Drew, it sounds like Billy Donovan may get back out from the NBA and get to college basketball.
Well, being a Bulls fan, I wouldn't hate that.
And Nate Oates has already turned him down. I mean,
correct.
He probably used it as leverage for Alabama. As
he had already had a contract bump last week, from what I understand.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure the same type deal where, Oates can get Kentucky if he wants it, but instead's like, hey, give me a couple more million in NIL. That's the vibe I got from Alabama. But
you know what the crazy thing is? Scott Drew's, how old do you think Scott Drew is? This is
like 53, I think.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I swear, man, he's been around a long time.
But he started so young.
Yeah.
The one thing about that book of his that's worth it is the building of that Baylor program and how terrible it actually was there.
Yeah.
That's he even if he didn't win the national championship, let's say they would have made it to the Final Four that year, he's still a Hall of Famer for that rebuild. It's the best rebuild in the history of college athletics. And it's not even a rebuild. There was nothing to rebuild.
There was zero. Yeah. So here's a question. If you're Dan Hurley at Connecticut, do you entertain the Kentucky job? Because that's
I'm in the Big East.
I know, but it's a lot.
Compete with football.
You don't have to compete, but UConn just does not have. I don't see the same resources that a Kentucky basketball would have. I think he has to think about it. Now, UConn has won more national championships than anybody over the last 25 years. I understand that. I just wonder, as we transition here in college athletics, where the big dogs, and this has to be on Scott Drew's mind as well, Kentucky's in the SEC. Well,
we've seen Calipari squibble with Stoops down there.
Oh, right.
That would be my fear on taking this job because it is Kentucky, but you're still going to the SEC and it is a football universe. We should not forget that, right? Like everybody's excited about basketball right now. It's going to be football off season where we're just hammering football here, where Iowa State's going to have a chance to win the Big 12 this year. This is still a football driven industry. And if you're Hurley and you go to Kentucky, I get it. Kentucky basketball is bigger than Kentucky football.
It is.
But they still have 85 scholarships to fill, and they're competing against Georgia and Alabama. Where I don't know. Like I think that if I'm Hurley with what I have going, I probably stay there.
Yeah,
but
I agree. I do. I think so it sounds like they're going to start with Hurley. Drew's next, and if not Drew, then maybe Donovan. But it doesn't sound like it's going to get past Drew.
Yeah, and the Donovan deal is weird because the Bulls have to play in that playing game, and the timing of it. It's like, God, can you wait 11 days or whatever it is to do this? Like, there's not going to be any players left.
There's not going to be any players in there available. It's wild. What a world. But yeah, that literally shifted all of college basketball overnight when that news came out. And so but that it's so reactionary now for all these folks because again, NIL is based on emotion and it's not based on return on investment. It's based on emotion. So what fires people up? You know it from a website perspective. Coaching searches, when you feel spurned by something. I mean, it all ties in here. So yeah, it'll be fascinating next couple of days. Kentucky has to move fast because the portal is open. It's not going to be open forever. And then that's going to create this domino effect that may impact our friends at K-State.
Well, and then like the
then what do they
part
do?
of it, all these players can just follow the coaches.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to, they can transfer as many times as they want now.
Nothing binding. I'd be curious if, let's say, like that McDaniel guy from Michigan who just committed to K-State. I can't imagine he signed any paperwork.
I'm sure he would just go to Baylor.
He could probably just go to. So this is not done yet. And for those wondering, Chris, I think you can probably follow me here. I would not be concerned about TJ Otzelberger 1 iota in this.
No, I haven't even thought about that.
Yeah, so, just FYI. I know people.
And there's a reason too. I always like to educate our listeners. There's a reason when you read this stuff why his name doesn't get brought up because his agent isn't out there pushing it. This is all done by agents. It's very rarely the coach telling the media like, "Hey, put me on your list." They don't even think about that. It's these agents that are constantly, and that's why I always say Scott Drew is the best agent on the planet. He is always, and he's probably like, he wasn't taking the Louisville job. Are you kidding me? Like, he wasn't going there. But every year, Scott Drew is tossed around because then fans hear it and administrators hear it, and they think, "Oh man, UConn wants him," or, "Oh wait, man, Virginia Tech is interested." Like this is what they do, and it's all psychological. It's what a college basketball is, a cesspool. It has been forever. It always will be. There's too much reliance on like 2 or 3 guys, and that just it's really no different. Like these guys have been getting paid in the past too, but it's just now we can all talk about it.
We can all talk about it. And then the boosters aren't shy about actually doing it in the light. And so that's why a guy like the Tyson CEO or founder or whoever can just say, Arkansas, hey, here's $5 million. Have fun with it.
Somebody who's writing about the dinosaur chicken nuggets Tyson makes. We're gonna boycott those. No more Tyson chicken. It cost us Javon Hadley.
Hey, 4-year-old Theo. No more nuggies for you, pal.
No more nuggies.
We're getting the Costco brand, buddy boy.
Man, that Kirkland, that whatever, Tom Kirkland or whatever his name is, he's just cashing checks over there.
Who is this Kirkland guy? Where did he come from?
Gave me Christmas. They do everything. They make chicken. They make hand lotion. They make whiskey. They make everything. Thanks to our friends at Gravitate Co-working. Check them out today at gravitatecoworking.com. Get the hell out of your basement. Don't work there.
Downtown.
Go be productive downtown.
I'm going downtown for lunch. I'm going to stop by and see Jeff. I'm going to go say hi.
Oh, well, tell him I said hello if you don't mind.
No.
I don't have much more because this was a crazy show, and I got to get to Western Iowa for that funeral. for our Wiffles Hybrids Big 12 segment. I mean, I think we basically covered it. We are waiting. We are in a wait and see mode when it comes to Big 12 basketball because we think this could be a seismic shift coming up. It's all going to depend on what Scott Drew
Yeah,
decides
and
to do.
it's gonna be this next 3 weeks is gonna be super goofy because you saw it yesterday. I mean, there was multiple football players already going in the portal. How about this? This literally Pete Thamel, Aiden, if you can find this tweet about Oregon State running back from Thamel. This is how crazy it's starting to get more open in the public. So Oregon State's star running back Martinez went in the portal yesterday, announced he was going to go to the portal, and literally Oregon State must have told Thamel what they were going to pay him. So he tweeted, here we go. Oregon State running back Damian Martinez has informed Oregon State he intends to enter the portal. He was set to make more than $400,000 to play at Oregon State this year. And that's at Oregon State. And so that what you're seeing in basketball is 100% going to happen with football. Now, I think Iowa State's going to, I'm not concerned right now, but you're going to see a bunch of these folks, just like you see it for basketball, do this. They'll test the waters, literally test the waters of how much will somebody be willing to pay me because the portal is open for football from the 15th through the 30th. So if you think it's wild now, just
you know what I'm surprised by this watching the last couple of days. I'm surprised there's not more players in the portal.
There's
honestly, no, I'm dead serious. Like if I'm a running back and I'm reading that, I'm like, what the hell?
Oh, you're gonna see it.
That guy's making $400,000 in a Mountain West school. Like,
right. That's the thing is Oregon State's in the Mountain West now.
It's freaking crazy.
And it's not. I thought it would slow down by now, and it's not. And so I just think we're gonna have to readjust. I mean,
go buy some of that pizza. We're all going to be just morbidly obese after this transfer. We're just drinking Ames Lager and eating pizzas. Well, we got to support the team.
But
David.
No, I'm not worried about football. But it's also like, good grief, why is this all happening at the same time? I'm going to Arizona on Friday. I'm kind of nervous to go.
Yeah, I was thinking about you last night. I'm like,
I've got my phone, so
that's not going to be very relaxing golf. I can promise you that.
I'm at least I have a built-in excuse for my golf game though. I could just blame.
What are you guys doing? Best ball down there? Little.
No, we're good. So my brothers and I, we all play. We're all pretty good. So the old man's been playing for a while. So we're gonna have a match. We might do like some Ryder Cup style action.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. You know, I will say I'm a little disappointed. I feel like a Bloom brother that I didn't get an invite. I'm just saying, Scott.
Okay.
Dennis is like Dennis, I think I talk to your dad more than you do. I'm just saying, if you're a Bloom out there, I kind of thought
you want to go?
I've been there for your birthdays. I've helped you move. I'm a little disappointed I didn't get the offer to come and be a part of the team this weekend, but no. I don't want to go now. I don't want the pity.
Let me ask you this, because it's in the group text this morning. How much do you pay we're going to go to 2 baseball games, Diamondbacks, Cardinals games down there?
Yep.
Do you spend the extra to sit closer, or are you just happy to be in the ballpark?
No, you all have jobs. It's a once-in-a-lifetime deal. This is how I view these sporting events for the most part. Unless I'm at like US Bank Stadium where I know like every nook and cranny of this place. And it's like, oh, I'm okay sitting in the corner end zone upper if I'm down low. Like, there's certain stadiums that you just know.
Yeah.
If I'm at a baseball game, at least one of the days I'm spending more to sit down low. Okay. I want to be by the dugout. I want to be, within reason. I don't need to be right behind home plate. My favorite spot in a baseball stadium is as close behind the dugout on the first or third base side as possible.
But you're saying for one of the nights we should at least get lowers.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Especially if it's a new ballpark, you're watching your team. If it's check the weather. It's Arizona, so it'll be nice.
There's a dome. Yeah,
you absolutely splurge on one of the days, and then the other one. I don't mind outfield seats either because they're usually pretty cheap, and at least you're not up in the nosebleeds, and you can catch a foul ball or something. That's what I would do.
So, so it happened at this park before. It was the side of the Inside.com Bowl.
Oh, yeah. Ryan Hansen, a college buddy of ours, says first or third dugouts are the best place for. I completely agree.
I need Hansen's money though, and then I'd be set.
I sat at it was a Royals game. I used to have a contact, an Iowa State guy would Ben's the man. God love you. He's probably listening to this now. And he'd throw me a bone with Royals tickets every now and then. And he worked for the Royals. Like his office was like 3 down from Dayton Moore. Okay. And one best seats I've ever had at a sporting event. I was first row behind the first base dugout where I literally like had my beer on the dugout. It was so cool.
That's
Yeah.
well. Hey, if there's any Cyclones in Phoenix, it'll be at the Diamondbacks game Friday or Saturday. Shoot me a note. Seriously,
You see Spencer Strider?
is he on the IL officially?
Oh yeah, it's bad.
Like MR, like Tommy John ish.
They don't know if it's Tommy John, but he's got a torn ligament in his throwing arm.
Pitching
So it's just
epidemic.
It's
bad.
It really is. It's crazy, but like it, and thanks to little jerk Aiden ruined my night the other night. I'm sitting there watching WrestleMania.
I sent you thoughts and prayers.
I'm sitting there watching
tweet about Spencer Strider.
Matty Van Winkle's over, and we're watching WrestleMania and having a good time. And all of a sudden, Aiden's tipping me off about Spencer Strider being out for the year, and I'm like,
Did you?
We have the best team in baseball.
Did you just text thoughts and prayers and then, or did you reference something?
Oh,
so I sent him the tweet. Of
Okay,
Spencer
that's a little
Strider
bit
getting
better,
hurt, and he just said thoughts and prayers.
Because I've had friends text me just thoughts and prayers. I'm like, what happened? Like, what did I? And I just panic until I can figure it out.
Thoughts and prayers is kind of like the word culture. Like we all use it too much. Like even if you're not religious, like people will be like, well, thoughts and prayers are with the family. It's like, well, no, you're really not. Like if you're religious, like that's great.
Well, that's
like,
where thoughts comes in.
Yeah, that's true. Then just say I'm thinking about you, but whatever. I mean,
all right,
all right, Bloom. I swear to God, if Iowa State loses another player while you're out golfing, it's your ass. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, please. I will. I'm responsible. I will have my phone. Everybody, we're gonna be okay. But no, seriously, thank you. I know it goes without saying, but Iowa State would not have a top 10 team without your support of this thing. I know there's some sombering stuff, but hey, we're gonna figure it out, everybody. All right.
Hey, one other thing, Aiden, pull up my tweet from last night. I tweeted this at about 10:30 last night. We did a We Will Cyclone Fanatic event in Memphis. We sold out Jerry the King Lawlers, and we half the money went to We Will, and half the money went to a foundation that Bloom and I are both very close to, Living Ava's Way. So we are paying with the money for this sidewalk to be paved in her garden, in Ava's butterfly garden here in Bonnaroo. So I wanted to show you that we're not just telling you, hey, donate us this money. Like this is your donations actually working in the flesh, this beautiful garden that we remember Ava with in right down the street from both Brent and I. So I wanted to share that. Positive thoughts here to end the program. Yep. Pretty cool.
That is awesome. Well done, everybody. So that was a night that keeps on keeping on. It was a legendary to begin with, but gets even better after that. So.
that night, woo, man. That you didn't even come to. Yeah, you were at the after party at the. You stayed with us.
Yeah. I was in the.
Colin Newell was there.
Newell showed up.
Newell was just like bench pressing people.
Yeah, just while saving him money on insurance. It's crazy.
Oh, Rob Gray pulled out the scotch at about 2 a.m. It was a hell of a night.
It was a great night. And then the football game happened the next day. And that, hey, you don't win them all. You don't win them all.
Dude, I'm telling you, like I have mad sympathy for these coaches. How in the hell are you supposed to prepare for a bowl game when you're trying to keep your entire roster? Like, think about that. It's insane. That's why this new Fox NIT thing is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's not going to work.
It's going to start on March 31st. None of these teams are even going to have rosters.
Yeah.
None of them are going to play. It's insane.
Yeah. There's a lot, man. As somebody said to me the other day, it's like, you think the last 5 years has been crazy. Just wait till the next 5. I was like, I can't. I don't know.
That excites me or terrifies
Yeah, it's a little bit of both.
Jeez.
It's just like that spine tingle. So here we go.
Get out of here.
We're going to get through it together, everybody. Appreciate y'all.
appreciate our friends at Mechdyne for always sponsoring us here on Williams and Blum. Blum will be gone on Sunday. I think I'm going to do a monologue Sunday podcast where I just take questions at like an hour-long mailbag is what I'm gonna go with. So if you guys like, I'm talking deep Cyclone, Big 12, college sports stuff. Be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna take your questions. It sucks doing it without Bloom, but hey, I don't want you to be logging in. You got to be supporting Pops there in his retirement.
I'm gonna be going low.
It's going low, baby. Thanks to Aiden Wyatt for producing as always. And we will be back. I'll be back on Sunday. Bloom will be back with me next Wednesday here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.